Hello and welcome to From the Editor. I'm Mike Shearer, Executive Editor of the Columbus Dispatch and Dispatch.com. This is our weekly video podcast about the cover stories that are appearing in our online and print publications this week. So today I'm here with Sophia Veneziano.
Hello.
Hello, Sophia. How are you this morning?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Sophia is our kindness reporter, which is still a relatively new position here at the Dispatch. Sophia joined us a year ago on a grant through the Columbus Foundation's Center for Human Kindness, which is a really innovative program they're doing to promote kindness in our communities, and that's always a good thing, I think.
Absolutely.
Kindness is always good. And we're here again. This is the second year in a row we've done this now. We have run a program called Everyday Kindness Heroes, which are a bunch of folks that are going to be recognized not only in the Dispatch this Sunday, but also in Columbus Monthly Magazine there, you can see. But also at an event here on December 3rd at Vitriol on the Square. And we'll talk about that here in a second, but welcome.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me.
So how has this position, talk to folks a little bit about what you do and how you do it and how this all came to be, I guess.
Yeah, that's great. So obviously, like Mike said, I'm a kindness reporter. And basically, that's just elevating and amplifying good news in the community. That could be, grant announcements, nonprofits doing things, or programs like this, Everyday Kindness Heroes, which is truly everyday people serving their community in big ways and sometimes in small ways, but really just people that are going out of their way to give back to Central Ohio. And it's a lot of fun. So I have a series in the Dispatch and also one in Columbus Monthly and Columbus CEO that people can follow along with. Mm-hmm. And then otherwise, just good news happening thanks to our partnership with the Columbus Foundation Center for Human Kindness.
And we are very grateful for their support and this program. It's been very successful. And it takes time for these things to grow and audience to grow, but that's happening this year, and we're very excited by that.
Yeah.
So how do you go about finding these kindness stories? I mean, I know you get tips from people at times, but how have you kind of gone about this, and what have you learned in the last year, I guess, doing this?
That's a good question. So a lot of it is getting tips from people submitting via email, building up sources. So someone I might have worked with in the past might text or email and say, hey, I have this other idea. So a lot of word of mouth. Mm-hmm. And then, just kind of with any beat, being plugged into the community and knowing what's going on and just constantly listening and trying to find, maybe a good story out of a different story and kind of letting it go from there. So, and then what have I learned? That's a good question. Honestly, there's goodness everywhere. Yeah. And that I think everyone has maybe, I don't want to speak for everyone, but a lot of people have been having a hard couple years, honestly, myself included. Yeah. And just that there are truly good people in our community, and I'm sure in all communities that are working to give back. And it's an honor to get to know them and get to share their stories for the community to know and appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. And so I find this striking again because I'm reminded of last year this is appearing in print on the Sunday after Thanksgiving. And last year we had on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, the Ohio State-Michigan brawl.
Yes.
After the game. And that was inside the paper that Sunday. But the cover was these 5 folks who are doing great things in the community. And it was kind of a juxtaposition of everything I've been dealing with as editor of the Dispatch for the previous 18 hours or so that morning about what happened. So there is still, it's nice to see kindness in our community and have it spotlighted in this way, which does not always happen unless we're intentional about it. And that's what this program is really about. Yes,
exactly. Obviously, people love to read bad news and we want to know what's going on in the community, but I appreciate being able to make space for the good stuff too.
All right, so let's talk about the program this year. Once again, this is Everyday Kindness Heroes. The event is December 3rd at Vitriol on the Square, and there are tickets still available for that. But as I understand it, we have 8 semifinalists and 5 other individuals. I'm sorry, I'm reading this wrong. We have 5 finalists and other folks we're going to be recognizing tonight. We're going to talk about the 5 finalists here for a few minutes. So first on that list is Brent Dutcher of Rides for Refugees.
Yeah.
Tell me about Brent.
Well, his story is pretty neat because he's passionate about international work. And then so he gives rides to refugees. So he found a way to connect with other people from other nations here in Columbus and really builds friendships with them and meets needs for people that wouldn't otherwise have resources. So that's it's pretty interesting. You could read more about that in our story in the Dispatch and in the Columbus Monthly story we have here. But I like one quote about him. It says, "The word to describe Brent is indefatigable." So he just doesn't tire. He is constantly working to build relationships and help people that need it. So, that's who we have up first.
Okay. Sean McKay is second from the Garden District Corporation. Okay.
Yeah. So Sean's story is pretty unique because he was interested in becoming an educator, a music educator, but then he pivoted to really being passionate about agriculture. So he launched this nonprofit that he manages outside of his day job, and he grows food for the community, and he, teaches the next generation to become farmers. And he's really passionate about what he does, and again, meeting needs in a different way.
So here in the height of the pandemic in 2020, he grew in excess of 700 pounds of food in his backyard and donated to Lutheran Social Services. That's a lot of food.
Yeah, just
a lot of produce
in his backyard.
Yeah.
And yes.
That's very impressive.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Up next is Kip Rooks of Blessing Hands.
Yes. So Kip's story is pretty neat as well because coming from his own story of growing up and knowing what need was like, he then decided to grow and use that experience to give back to the community. So he gives out meals. He started Blessing Hands and organizes an annual back to school drive, gives out backpacks, kind of just meets needs all throughout the community in various ways and through his nonprofit and just using his own personal story to give back, which I think kind of going back to your previous question of what maybe I've learned is that's a lot of the narrative that we see, and that kind of really adds to the people's stories that they use their personal experiences to serve others.
Okay. Well, and there's just so much going on that are these. I mean, we write a lot in the media about the food banks and all these food things that are going on right now with SNAP changes here recently and all that. But there's also just a ton of smaller efforts that all add up to something important.
Absolutely.
And you're kind of highlighting some of those in these profiles.
Yeah. I would say food insecurity it does touch the one we just talked about with Garden District Corp and all this. So that kind of is a theme throughout.
Which is very interesting.
It is very timely.
The food bank folks came in to see us, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. And I was really floored when they told us that they were giving out more food in 2024 and so far in 2025 than they did during the pandemic when we had this emergency where people lost their jobs and clearly had needs for food in that situation the demand is still that high today is a little surprising to me at least.
Yeah, important to talk about as well.
Yes. And that was before the recent SNAP shutdown issues. All right. So the next one up is Micah Suttle of Seeds of Caring.
Yes. So Seeds of Caring is a nonprofit that connects youth 2 to 12 to service opportunities. So Micah is one of those people, and he's been volunteering with the organization since he was, I think it's for the past 5 years. So he's 12 now. Yep. So he started when he was 7. And then since he was very young and really made some of their service projects his own. And then what really makes him special and incredible is that he, every year he organizes a day where he comes and speaks to his class at school about giving back. So he'll choose a nonprofit and give a presentation on that nonprofit and then plan some sort of activity that has to do with the work that group does. So he really has taken service in his own hands. He's also a very talented runner. So balancing athletics as a young person with service is pretty astounding. And he definitely deserves to be on this list.
All right, and our fifth and final finalist that'll be recognized at our event next month is Maya Ward from Alicia's Closet.
Yes, Maya Ward. She's an incredible addition to this list as well because I've received nominations for her just throughout the year for the series, and we've gotten to highlight some of the things that they've done throughout the year. But then she also had one of the most nominations for this as well. So she's very loved by her community. So Alicia's Closet is a nonprofit that serves foster care, the foster care community in Central Ohio. So they have a free store and they have resources like respite groups for parents that are navigating the foster care and adoption processes. And so she had fostered to adopt kids a couple years ago, and then named the organization after her daughter, Alicia. So again, serving needs out of her own personal journey and story.
All right. So, the event last year was very inspiring. We had 5 similar folks to the 5 we just talked about honored, and they gave presentations or speeches about what they're doing. But how does this all, how would you describe the kindness that you have found in this past, I guess now 13 months you've been doing this job?
Yeah.
How would you kind of sum up what you've learned about the Columbus region, I guess?
Yeah. Well, that's a big question.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I might need a second. I guess going back to the word indefatigable, that it doesn't stop even with, like we discussed, changes in SNAP and the lapse in that, and just what, through hardship, people show up and they don't get tired, and even when they do get tired, they still show up.
Okay.
So that's pretty neat. Mm-hmm. I will note one thing that we have different this year is that we're also celebrating 5 people that we've covered throughout the year.
Yes.
I don't think we're going to focus on them right now just because we already have full features on them throughout the year.
Yeah.
But people can read about them too in Columbus Monthly, and they will be at the event, and we're excited to celebrate them.
All right. So if you're not familiar with Sophia's work, it appears online on dispatch.com. It's usually published every Sunday morning online. It also appears in the Sunday print edition in the second section, right behind the main news section. And it's the kindness page. Pretty easy to spot there. It's on the front of that page. And we always welcome ideas. Our journalists are busy chasing stories around town, and so we always welcome ideas. There's a lot more of you folks out there than we have in the newsroom here, and so I know Sophia and others welcome ideas on any topic, really.
Absolutely.
Especially this one. So, and we're happy to show these great stories in Columbus and talk about kindness, and we appreciate everybody who has supported this program, and once again, especially the Columbus Foundation's Center for Human Kindness. The event is coming up here on December 3rd at Victory on the Square, and if you are interested in that, there's also information in the Dispatch and on dispatch.com about how to attend that event. So thank you, Sophia.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
All right. Until next week, folks, thanks for being with us today, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.